Hey, everyone. Blockchain Bernie here. Episode 383. Xandeum's pNodes are sold out in the first era, which was the Deep South era. We're heading into the South era. The Munich release is almost done. We're doing the last few bits of work on it. And yeah, we're moving towards the mine era. The Wikipedia, the decentralized Wikipedia is being built. We can see just in front of us the first apps that are building on Xandeum. It is also exciting. But this is not like a video now of me telling you everything about that. It is an AMA, an Ask Me Anything. So we are doing this in parallel, at the same time to both YouTube and X. So you can ask your questions now, both on X, just by sending me a message, or you can just use the YouTube chat function here to ask me questions. All right, so I'm waiting. I see the first 7 online on YouTube, the first 2 on X, and I'll just wait for. We just had the X AMA, by the way, which was a great success. We had so many people there from different countries asking different questions, and the 1 hour didn't really suffice to answer all the questions. We have more questions coming. There was one guy there, OG, who was asking things about the liquidity providing. Because, man, thank you, everyone, for providing all that liquidity. We have over $60,000, $65,000 now in liquidity provided by you guys, by the community. I couldn't be happier. I would have never thought that. We provided the initial liquidity of 150,000. We locked it for 6 months. And then you guys are providing 65,000 on top of that, which is awesome. As we move onwards and as we have more trading volume, and sometimes we have like weeks or so where we have like 20,000 or so trading volume each and every day, which is just awesome, but it's also just the beginning, right? We want to be at hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars in trading volume each and every day. It is so important for the ecosystem, for all of us to be able to trade whenever we want to trade. So that is super important. There is no trading volume without the liquidity. I'm super happy. And the liquidity is going to grow by so many different things. And we are putting the rewards out there, the rewards for providing liquidity. And then, yeah, so that's it. Why Metro? Damn it, I'm spilling the beans again. Why Metro? What beans are you spilling? I don't see any. Okay, so, yeah. Okay. So, oh, John, the price of Xandeum is over 1 cent now, right? I don't know. It's not. Yeah, the community is growing. So hopefully we're going to get there soon. Yeah, any more questions? We had that OG guy who was asking about liquidity provision. He wanted to come back to YouTube, but I can just repeat his question that he asked on X before, like how is the liquidity provision working? What are all the farms doing there? And there are different farms now. So the farm is restarted. So we have actually 5 farms online as we speak. And the thing that I learned, I was not a Radium expert either, right? The thing that I learned is with with, oh, it is actually over 1 cent. Okay, that's awesome. Yeah, thanks, John. I thought it was just sarcastic or anything, and I was just thinking the wrong way, and it's sometimes difficult to keep track of the number of zeros there after the point or so. So that, if that is the case, that's reason for celebration, John. Thanks for reminding me here. So let me get out my deck screener here. And let's check XAND. Yeah, it is over 1 cent. Awesome. Yeah, that's great. And we had 11K buy volume in the last 24 hours and 6.4K sell volume. So we have a lot of trading volume, which is awesome. We need that trading volume just in order to be, a token that's really, really out there and respected, and, in order to see the prices on all these platforms and stuff like that. So yeah, we're back to over 1 cent, and that wouldn't have been possible without all your support here, and also the liquidity that has been provided. Okay, so now suddenly I see a little bit. Is the farm getting restarted? Yes, it has already been restarted, and I will talk about that in depth in a moment after I just read all these comments here. I started a stream on both X and YouTube to increase reach. Yes. We're doing that also. So we're streaming live to YouTube and X. Oh, and you're watching it on both YouTube and X. So that's great, Peter. That it just helps the algorithm, right? If you really watch these things to the end, both on YouTube and on X, right? You'll help us with both. So if you just watch it from the beginning to end on both platforms, that would be awesome, right? Okay, so Alan, do you have a guess as to when we will be getting the next stage for the pNodes? Okay. Yeah, so the pNode sales was for the Deep South era. And actually with the Munich release, right? Munich release is it's a lot of development progress, right? It's always tough to predict the last few weeks because there's testing, and then in testing we figure out, oh, we forgot this thing, and then we need to build it again, and then after that last thing has been built, we need to test it again and stuff like that, right? So can't make any real predictions here, but I can say that the progress is just awesome there, right? It's not, it's like 90% done or something, but only God knows how long the last 10% will take. Anyway, so with the Munich release, your pNodes right now, they will only receive requests to create a file system and to destroy a file system again. Those are the operations that we name Big Bang and Armageddon. And now with the Munich release, they will receive all sorts of requests, right? There's an mkdir to make a directory. There's a peek and a poke, finally, to actually store the data. So there will be a new piece of software running on the pNodes called pod, right? So we have all these pods running on all those pNodes, and they actually store the data in pages. These pages are fixed-sized containers to store the data. You could also call them tiles or something, right? We call them pages, inspired by Unix memory management, which calls it pages also. You can also think of them as blocks in a hard drive or something, right? A block is also like a fixed size container of some capacity. For us, we start the size of one page with 1 megabyte, which is quite large, but we need that size in order to be scalable to exabytes and yottabytes and zettabytes, right? So look into all these metrics there, and I don't know it from the top of my mind, right? But I think a a exabyte is like 1,000,000 terabytes at least, right? So after terabytes, we have petabytes, and after that, it's exabytes, and then it's yottabytes, and then it's zettabytes. So we need to scale up to that capacity. So for that, we cannot have like 4 kilobyte pages or something, right? 4 kilobyte pages is great for Unix memory management, right? Because the memory doesn't have that huge of a capacity. We scale up to yottabytes and zettabytes, so we need that 1 megabyte page size. And just to tell you something, we have invested into a nice monitoring interface, right? So all your pods, we have that XAND miner interface that's for managing your pNode as a whole and stuff like that. But then the pod is running. The pod is a different process on the pNode, and it's receiving and handling all these requests, and it's actually storing the data and receiving and sending it back. So it's like a little validator, but only for storage. And we have a really nice real-time monitoring tool there, which you will love, right? I wish I could show you a sneak peek today, but I might tweet a sneak peek of how that looks like. And of course, it's just the beginning. It's just a Munich release. It's a prototype, but it's really nice. You will love it, right? So, and we have that already. So the Munich release is already there. And once Munich is there, and then we head towards the mine era, right? And the mine era will have the Wikipedia clone on it. Once we do that, we need more pNodes, so there will be another pNode sales and stuff like that. But with the start of the Munich release, there will be lots of changes to your pNode, because you will have that pod running on there. It's going to be an apt package, so you can just say apt install pod, and then you have that pod software on there, and it'll store the data, and you will be able to real-time monitor how many requests you're getting, how many pages are being used out of your, maybe like you provide 1,000 pages or something. That would be a terabyte, right? Or maybe you just provide 100 pages. And you will see how many of these pages are being used for data, where actually data is in there, and how many are being idle or empty for the moment and stuff like that. So yeah, in a few weeks, and again, tough to make any real predictions here. In a few weeks, that will be a whole new phase for the pNodes, right? And they will actually store data. And the whole thing is actually just going to work, right? So it's going to be fantastic, and it's going to be happening soon. And then we're in a new era. We're in the South era, and there will be more pNode sales. And how many pNodes, what the pricing is, it'll all depend on the demand, right? Will there be some apps already running on DevNet? And we have a few lining up, but we don't know how much is the demand for actual storage and stuff like that, right? So we will see how many pNodes we need, when, and then when it gets really interesting is, of course, when we go mainnet in the mine era and have some real storage out there with some apps. Our app, it's initially ours, but we want to give it away, right? We don't want, as Xandeum, we don't want to get into the business of further running this Wikipedia clone, because it would be, frankly, a whole business of its own, right? So it's just going to be out there, and it's going to have its own DAO. We have our own our own fork of that DAO software, of the Realm software. I already mentioned that in my X Spaces before I did that. We've done our own fixes because the Realm software hasn't been touched in 3 years, right? So it's not something that takes us anywhere. And for the Wikipedia, we even need a better DAO, right? And even for Xandeum, we need a better DAO than we have right now. We don't want to confuse people with locking up their XAND tokens in the DAO and giving them too many options that nobody understands, and all these things, and having to click custom duration just to get their 30 days and all that kind of stuff, right? So we have successfully cloned all that, deployed all our own versions, and that's also great progress. And yeah, that's for the question, when will we have the next phase of the pNodes? Okay, there's so many questions here now. Before I, again skip the liquidity provision on Radium, let me jump into that because that has been a question that was asked a few times. So I'll just open my browser here, go to Radium. .io, right? Connect my wallet. Connect my wallet. And then let me share my screen actually. Not sure if that works now because I haven't. Oh, it works. Fantastic. So you're seeing my screen here now. This is Jupiter, right? It's the wrong. Okay, need to do it here. Just a sec. I need to do Radium.io. Farms, boom. Do it here. Okay. So you'll see it now. I'm connected to my blockchain Bernie wallet. I'll do the standard pools and I type in XAND here. Boom. So now I see these two pools here, right? Oh, are you guys actually seeing that? Let me go back to my OBS here. Yeah, you're seeing it. Okay, that's nice. So I go there and then I'll hit these here, the settings thing, and I do show farms, right? And I hit XAND on here. Boom. No, I think now I'm back to the wrong one. So let me go here. This is the one. Okay. So I have these and I hit this here, the settings thing. Boom. And I say show farms, right? So we need to understand the difference between a pool, a pool and a farm. I almost said a fool and a farm. So a pool and a farm. So the pool is just the trading pool, right? You put XAND and Sol in it and people can swap XAND for Sol to their liking. And that pool, in the pool, you only earn the trading fees as rewards. So all those pools have relatively low APYs, right? Radium calls that APR. I actually hate that because APR is usually what you pay and APY is what you get. So, don't know. So I call it APY, even though Radium calls it APR. But we have right now in this farm here, and I said show farms, 357% annual percentage yield. So this is your yield that you're getting. And this one that's being shown here is the one. So if we, okay. So let me do portfolio here. Actually, man, this is all tough to demo here. Okay, so let's use another wallet here where I actually have some stuff in there. Let me do this here, and let me go to my portfolio. Standard. Oh, still nothing. That's tough. So I'm on a different computer here now, and it seems like, let me try this one. Maybe this has a position here. Also has no positions. That's too bad. And actually on this computer, I don't have the wallet where I have these positions in. So that's kind of sad. I can't show you that. But anyway, there are right now 5 different farms out there that we could actually buy liquidity from. So if I were to do this here, go that, do the XAND again, and then try to deposit something here. This is a different pool here. It only has $8,000 in liquidity. And it's just a different pool that someone has created. I'm not sure, maybe our market maker has created it at some point in time, or some of you have created it. I'm just not sure. But the main pool where the main liquidity is, and that's just a 1%. This has a 2% fee. So not many people are trading on this one, right? Because it has a 2% trading fee. If people go to Jupiter, Jupiter will assign only a small amount here and the most amount to the one with 1% fee. It'll assign some of it here also, just because the price impact, if we did all with one pool, there would be a higher price impact, and that would kind of cancel out the savings in fees. So that's why it's always great to use Jupiter, because it finds the cheapest path for you, right? So now with this pool, don't worry about that one. We worry about the pool that has the most liquidity here, right? That's the one that I put the incentives on. Someone put incentives on this one also. See that? That's a different pool. And someone created a farm there and gives some incentives, which is nice. And you can too, right? Anyone can create these farms and incentivize putting funds into those pools and into those farms. Because if you have liquidity in a pool, you want people to use it and put liquidity in there so that you can earn more trading fees. The more liquidity is in there, the more Jupiter will route to that pool, and the more you will earn with trading fees. So that's why it's great for you to create your own farms, right? You can create a farm on top of the XAND pool and give whatever wrapped Ethereum as a reward, or you can give Fartcoin as a reward, or whatever, right? So it's all up to your imagination of what you want to do there, and it seems like a lot of people have already created farms here, right? So we see one here, but if you go to this main pool here, that's where my 160,000 or so locked liquidity is also in. And then we can provide some liquidity, and then we can stake liquidity. So, and here we have all the farms. You see that? These are all the farms that are associated with that large pool. The large pool that has 223,000 in liquidity. But here you see all the farms, right? There is one with 264% APY, and that's only giving you XAND. There is one, someone created that has Sol rewards. It has a high APR. I saw that farm, and I provided liquidity there because I thought, like, hey, that has high APY and it gives me Sol, so why not use that? There's another farm here that has only the XAND rewards. I didn't create that. Xandeum didn't create it. It has 12% APR. And then I think these are the two that I created, right? So this is the one with the most liquidity. It's the one that used to be active until May 7th, and then it lapsed because I was sick, and I was really, really sick. So I wasn't really able to extend the rewards here. So it had a lapse of a day or something, a day or two, I don't know. And then Michael from the community thankfully nudged me and told me, hey, you know, we need to extend these rewards and top them up, which I did, right? So it's 40% now because it's shared with 52,000 in liquidity. This one right now is also from Xandeum. It's from myself, and it has 13 in there, right? So if we add this all up, it's 52 plus 13, that's 65 already, right? 65, 750, right? And now with 5, that's 75, 76 here now with the hundreds. 76 plus, it's 80,000, guys, right? Am I correct? So this was 6570. No, I'm not correct. So let's do it again. 52 plus 13, that's 65,750. 65, 70,000, 71,000 something, plus 4, it's 75,000. So guys, I'm happy to announce here, there is $75,000 of community provided liquidity now in these pools. I couldn't be more happy about that. I'd really like to thank everyone who's doing that. I know you're doing it also for rewards, and the rewards are awesome. If you look at these APRs and APYs, they are being provided by some noble guys. You know, partly myself with those 2 farms that I showed you, but there's also 4 other farms that are providing rewards there. And it's wise to do that because it gives them the trading volume on their pool, right? If they have provided liquidity to the pool, they can provide rewards, also create their own farms, and get people and get Jupiter to use their pool to get use, and that's awesome. And 75 in community provide liquidity. We you know, crossed the threshold here, because we said in the other video, if we have 69,000 in community provided liquidity, I will double the rewards. So that's why I'm doing it week by week. It's going to expire on Thursday or so. And then for the week after, I just put in 80,000 XAND as rewards instead of the per week, you know, instead of the 40,000 that we had, which will drive up the APY even further. So it's always great to provide the liquidity. You know, it's important to understand liquidity provision. So you need to read up, you know, ask ChatGPT, ask Grok, ask whoever is your favorite LLM. What are the risks with liquidity providing in automated market makers and like DEXs? And it's basically, you know, above the smart contract risks that you have with everything you do in crypto. There is the so-called impermanent loss, which basically means your token could get traded into each other, right? And it could be asymmetric. So if people want more XAND than they want SOL, they might buy away your XAND and you end up with more SOL, or the other way around. If that's a big issue for you, then that's a risk. But on the, you know, on the other hand, you know, both tokens are great tokens, right? So it's not like, you know, yeah. So that's how it works with the liquidity. One guy had the questions in the X spaces before. I hope I've answered that right now. And I'm going back to my list here, man. There's so many questions from you guys today. Bikram asks, is the farm getting restarted? I think I answered that. It is restarted, and we even have 5 farms right now, or even 6. So Peter said started the stream on both. That's awesome. Thank you, Alan. The next stage for the pNodes, I answered that. Brad, that's awesome. Hadn't looked today. Makes sense with other market going up too. Absolutely. We all love that. And we had that dip, right? And maybe the dip coincided with, you know, the reward season 2. Many people got their rewards in season 2 for staking SOL in our XAND SOL pool, and also for locking up their XAND tokens in the DAO. So there were a lot of rewards coming out, and some people cashed out on these, and that's fine, right? It's not like I hate everyone that's selling. You know, if everyone's selling, that's bad, obviously, right? But it's everyone only buying and not trading at all, then we have no trading volume. That's bad either, right? And everyone has their reasons for buying and selling, and, you know, all we can do is make this as great a project as possible, get the adoption, get the product out, and then once the product is out, get the adoption so that it's going to be a great project. And then there's more and more reason to get a hold of these XAND tokens to power the storage layer and everything, right? So that's what we can do, right? But reasons for people on a daily basis to buy or sell, we can't control that, and we shouldn't control it. And you should all be aware that the price goes up and down, right? So if someone like, goes crazy when the price goes down like 30%, and it would have gone down less if we had like 1 million in liquidity rather than 220,000, right? So that's why we constantly need more liquidity in order for people to trade without a crazy price impact. And we're seeing that it's not huge trades, right? Some people do a trade for like $10,000 and boom, it's like 10% in the price impact, right? So in the long run, we want to have even more liquidity. So I'm super, super thankful for you guys having provided all that. But if you can do more over time, that would be way, way appreciated. And we're rewarding it, right? With all these liquidity rewards out here. So that said, yeah, don't be kind of freak out if the token goes down 30%. And especially when we have reward seasons or stuff, some people just want, and some people have reasons to sell, right? They just want to, whatever, at least get back what they invested back in the day and then be there with only bank money. Some people just have expenses they need to pay and stuff like that, right? And that's fine. That's why the token is traded on an exchange, right? And sometimes it all coincides, right? And then more people are selling than are buying, but then it comes back. And if you look at that curve here that we have, it just looks awesome. It was a weak kind of dip, and it was a great buying opportunity. As I told you guys, right, buy the dip, because it was clear it was reward season 2. People had their tokens. Some of them were selling, and it was a great buy the dip. And the upward trends just resumed after that. And I couldn't be more happy about that. Peter asking, how far are we from Munich right now? Can't wait. So, yeah. I think I answered that already, right? It's like 90% is done, but it's so super tough to make predictions, with the last testing and the last small pieces that are being developed. And it sometimes just happens in software development. You're there, you develop like almost everything, you try to test it, and then you figure out like, oh, we forgot about this small component here. And then we need to build that small component to make it all really work. And then you test it again, and then the whole thing might happen again or it might not happen again, right? So it's just with these things that have never been done before and that have almost like a research aspect to it, it is tough to really make solid predictions here, right? So, but it looks like it's just going to be a few weeks until development is finished. Then we need a week or two to finalize our marketing activities, because only when the software is really ready, that's when we can do the final touches on our communication strategy. We can, finalize the press release with the correct screenshots, finalize the docs, finalize the blog posts about it, and all these type of things, right? And we're also setting up these bounties, right? So you will see it on a platform called superteam.fun, and there's a specific sub-platform called earn.superteam.fun. And there we put out bounties for stuff that we want built for the Xandeum network, right? So it might be we want to have like a panel where all the pNodes can be shown by their performance or stuff like that, right? Something like StakeWiz, but for pNodes, right? And there are many others, and those will be awarded with rewards, right? And those could be XAND tokens, but it could also be like cash, right? Like USDC, or it could be, some part could be in Sol. So we're in the process of figuring that out together with Sean, who is officially on board now, successfully passed his kind of probation period. We're super happy with him, and he's responsible for a growth strategy, right? And he's working on that super team earn thing together with me. And yeah, so those are all the things that we're working on in order to get the Munich release out. And hopefully it's still going to be in May. but we will see. There's no real prediction that we can make for the reasons that I explained. Okay. Why Metro was quite worried about what actually? Why Metro? What beans did you spill? I didn't see it. It's always the last 10% that takes the longest. Absolutely, Alan. It's that 80-20 rule or 90-10 or whatever. John Spence again, Brad Cool. IR arose due to about a 1 million ZAN purchase over a couple of transactions. Okay. It was all the same wallet. I didn't even look into it. I always, by the way, always wanted to buy one of these analytics tools here so that we can have a bit more insight. If we do all that manually, it's just going to take a lot of time here. But it's great that people are buying XAND, and we see that also from new people that just learn about Xandeum and just build up their position, and that's what we need, right? And if we have 100x more of these and can grow the community by 100x, then we also have 100x more whales that are buying, right? So that's what these all efforts about growing the community are about. Okay, Bikram, do we have to update our VPS ZAN miner to install the pods? Yeah, we will have the docs then out. So you just need to log in to your VPS, just SSH into it, and then there's going to be a few commands that you need to run, right? It's basically, we kept it super simple. It's basically like apt install pod, right? And that's it. And then you have your pod running there, right? And then through that same tunnel, you can connect either to ZAN miner, but you can also connect to the pod. And that's like, it is advanced technology, because the Solana validators today, they don't have a web interface where you can monitor real time what's going on. Firedancer has that, the new Solana validator client, right? But the standard Agave doesn't have it, or at least not as slick as Firedancer has it. And ours is, you know, just as slick as the Firedancer one. So you will be surprised, and yeah, watch for it the next few days. I will just post a sleek preview on X so that you'll see how it will look like, right? And yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, the pods need to get installed, obviously. Why Metro? I'm confused. Earlier, the timer on YouTube said tonight at 9 p.m. and now it tells me I have to wait another 11 hours. I know about time zones, but this is rather confusing. If anyone can clear that up, I don't know. Was it scheduled for the wrong time or something? Don't know. Here it says May 10th, 12 p.m., which is now it's 12:47, so should have been okay. Don't know. What time zone are you on? Why Metro? Okay, David Lloyd, is the relative strength of XAND against Sol the reason why XAND is not the liquid token in our pools? Okay, let me try to understand that question. The relative strength of XAND against Sol. So we had that kind of a little bit of drop in the price of XAND due to a bug in Solana's program, right? In the SPL stake pool program. So we brought that back to Anza and Solana. They fixed the bug there. Believe it or not, it was not a bug on our end, right? It was a bug on their end, and now XAND is back, and XAND has a super high APY. So the value of XAND is rising faster than XAND, right? That's how it should be in liquid staking. And it will be rising even faster when we have real storage rewards that go into the XAND DAO, and they go into the pNodes, and the pNodes distributed back to the stakers. So that's when, you know, it becomes a no-brainer. And that's when the TVL in our XAND pool is going to skyrocket, right? When everything's there and in place. Always remember that. We're in the very beginning. We're building all these things here. We're building it in public. You see how it goes. We have, I don't know, 7 or 8, how many, Verena? 7 or 8 repositories we have open sourced, something around that, 7. And we're keeping just Atlas and the pods closed source for now, but those will be temporary anyway, right? It will be just temporary while it's a centralized storage solution. And then once we're in the central era and we're adding the BFT, the Byzantine fault tolerance, to the pods and the pNodes, then everything will be open sourced. And by then, we should have a high number of pNodes onboarded. And the pNodes are our moat, right? You guys that run the pNodes, it'll be tough for others that want to mimic us or something to get this number of engaged pNode operators out and running. By the way, 300 pNodes all got sold out. Only 113 filled out their onboarding form. No onboarding form, no rewards, guys. You need to fill out and submit these onboarding forms. Don't delay, do it today, okay? There's 187, almost 60, 65% that haven't done it yet. Do it now. So, because otherwise you just won't get the rewards. And so all that being said, the question again, David Lloyd, is the relative strength of XAND Sol against Sol the reason why XAND is not the liquid token in our pools? The pools are all XAND versus Sol, not XAND versus USDC. And there's a simple reason for that. The impermanent loss that I was talking about is the higher, the more unrelated the two tokens are with regards to price, right? So XAND to USDC might be more detached, right? Because USDC stays here, XAND is going up, hopefully, right? But Sol is also going up. So Sol is going up, XAND is going up at different speeds, right? So, but the difference is less. So you're going to have less impermanent loss if you do XAND for Sol. And XAND for Sol is the only liquidity we need because on Jupiter, you can swap it into any token. You go to Jupiter and say, I want to swap XAND for USDC, and Jupiter does it for you, right? It uses our pool to get it into Sol, and then it uses some other pool that's out there with, millions and millions in liquidity, likely billions in liquidity, to swap your Sol into USDC, right? We don't need to provide that. That liquidity is already there, right? So that's why we have this token pair. I hope that answers your question, David. Then Peter again, and with each pNode new version, the CPU requirements will most likely increase. Need to keep an eye on that. Yeah. Not so sure if the CPU requirements will increase drastically. They will increase, but even when we have the BFT and we have to do some cryptographic calculations or something, this is not like a validator that has to do a lot of CPU work, right? We might need a little bit more of memory, but also, we'll never be at the high memory requirements of a validator, right? It's just mainly about the storage. The storage needs to be fast, and the more storage you provide, the more opportunity for rewards there is in the long run. And also we need great networking. We need 24/7 networking, and we need high throughput, low latency, and all these type of things. So that's important also. That's why I would recommend you can run them really from home. And home internet is awesome these days, right? But just sometimes if you don't have a business account with your ISP in your home, you might have outages, right? So my Cox here has lots of outages. That's why I bought Starlink as my backup here, and I'm happy I did that. So if you have like backups for your internet at home, or if you have like a business contract or something, that's fine. And if you want to do it on a home thing, that's also fine. Just when you have an outage for that time, you won't earn rewards and stuff like that. So yeah, but I don't expect CPU requirements to skyrocket, at least not that I could see it right now. But We will see, as I said, it's mostly also a research effort, right? We will see how it goes and what throughput we can get on the storage side and everything. But as far as I can see today, I don't expect the CPU requirements to go crazy, and I don't expect the RAM requirements go crazy either. Probably at some point, I don't know, we need like 16 gigs or something like that, but I don't think we need a whole lot. Why Metro? Oh, had refreshed my YouTube page for showing the live stream. Okay. Yes, we can see. Yeah, I was having difficulties in sharing my browser here. Jay Wall just tuned in with pNodes. Will pNodes get an NFT and possibly monitoring so we can monitor uptime etc? Yeah, I mentioned the monitoring in the meantime. It's gonna be slick. It's gonna be, one of the nicest web interfaces out there to real-time monitor your distributed system, right? The pNodes are part of a distributed system. They are live and interacting with the apps and with our Atlas and with the validators and everything. So you will be able to monitor them real time. And giving them an NFT is a great idea. We would love to do that. It's just everyone's so busy here, but maybe we'll find someone in the team that can help us with that. Mike Abubi, who is manipulating the market? I don't know. What is manipulating and what is market? I have no idea. So I just trust the market. And yeah, I'm not making trades there. I'm not selling. Sometimes I'm buying a little bit, but not these big trades. Sometimes I'm also selling them again, but I make small trades, right? It's like a few $100 a month or something, right? So I'm definitely not manipulating the market there. And I honestly, frankly, it doesn't look to me as if there's any manipulation. It looks to me like organic trading is really picking up. It's the trend with trading volume is going upwards. We always have trades. We have trades based on news. We have trades based on progress in the project and all kind of that. And I couldn't be happier about that. So I really love what's going on. And I just want more of that, right? Let the trading volume grow and grow and grow. Let the liquidity grow and grow and grow, so that we become a real well-known token and project and everything. Okay, Peter, that blog from Anza, The Path to Decentralized NASDAQ, was really interesting read. Thank you. I thought so also. It is really interesting, and it's confirming that we're on the right track with Solana, but it's also confirming that Solana and Anatoly is busy with their vision, right? They want to compete with NASDAQ. Anatoly's initial slides like 5 years ago, like his pitch deck for investors, was like blockchain at the speed of NASDAQ. He is not all that interested in adding a storage layer to it, just because it's not part of his vision. He wants his vision to be as grand and bold and successful as possible. And I think the multiple leaders there is a fantastic thing, right? It's like, and he's assembled the best of the best that can actually put some serious research into how to do that, have multiple leaders for one block. And it was a really, really interesting blog post. But it shows that they are busy with their stuff, which is making a fast blockchain with state, right? And their state is like their global state is all in Solana accounts. And that's what they need for trading. But if we want real Web3 apps and we want to bring all those apps that are now running on the normal internet, right? Also called Web2 apps, if we want to decentralize them all, we need that storage layer, right? So Solana is not taking care of that, and they will not take care of that anytime soon. So we're jumping into this gap here, right? And someone needs to do it, and that's what's keeping me doing this here every time. It just needs to happen for the world to transition to decentralization in order for all of us to have a more self-determined future. And that's why we're doing that, right? And this article also showed like, well, they do their thing, right? And at some point, we will show that the other thing is a great complement to that, right? And we can have so many apps that want to build something that's not just trading and not just something that can be stored in Solana accounts, but something that is real data heavy. And all the Web 2 apps that are successful, they are all super data heavy, right? So we can build them on Xandeum then. Thank you, Brad, for reminding me. Everyone, like and subscribe, collect your points for that on points.xandeum.network, and leave me a comment, right? No question is too stupid. And, you know, I'm personally responding to these, not to every a comment, but too many, right? And I do that on a regular basis. And don't think it's a stupid question or something or a stupid remark. Put your opinion on there. Put your opinion out there. Let it be known to the world, and let me know what you think, and let me know what questions you have, right? Do it all right there in the YouTube comments. Will there be more pNodes? Yes, in each and every era, we're going to have more pNode sales. And in the end, it all depends on demand, how many apps will be out there, how much storage will those apps actually ask for. And according to that, we will want to have more and more pNodes. 300 is far from the limit, right? We probably need thousands of pNodes by the main era, by the end of the main era. And we probably need tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands in the central era. And at someday, if everything goes according to plan, we will need millions of pNodes out there in order to store our yottabytes and zettabytes of storage. And those will be the golden days of Web3 and decentralization. And there will be a lot more pNodes needed. And I can't tell you right now what the terms and conditions will be and what the pricing will be, right? And if everything goes according to plan, it'll be more and more expensive to get your pNodes, right? And it'll be tougher to get one, right? So I can only recommend, once the window opens up at some point in June or so, get your pNodes in the south era, because before you have to wait for the main era, for the central era, when things might get expensive or even tough to get in at all, right? Good. So why Metro again? Bit confusion on Radium, pun intended. At the original farm pool, it says rewards in Sol, and on my portfolio page, it says the rewards are in XAND. Do we get XAND or Sol on that one? It depends on, I did my screen sharing. There are so many different farms, and yes, you wrote it there, a few questions down. It depends on which farm you get to and which pool you get to, because each pool has its own farms, right? So there was that small pool, like 8,000, and it has one farm, and then there's the big pool with 223,000, and that has 5 farms on top of it. All right, so then Brad, the pool is only the large pool. That large pool includes 5 farms. Absolutely. You can stake to one of the 5 farms once you provide liquidity into the pool to be eligible for the rewards in that farm. Absolutely. That's the best description. Warisump. Okay. I'll get it now. Thanks, Brad. And then question, why Metro? Will NVMe be a requirement over SATA connected? It's never a requirement, but the more we move on to the releases, the more your pNode will be monitored, right? So we will connect live performance data, and the rewards that you get will be equivalent, will be proportional to your performance score, right? And I mentioned that before. There's 3 factors. It's performance score, it's amount of storage provided, and it's the stake you have that is delegated to your pNode, right? So these are the three things. They are being multiplied, right? So if you have a less performance score, you can make up for it by more storage space provided, right? Or by more stake, right? So it's the product of these three, and then that will be multiplied with a constant rewards factor, and then boom, you will get your rewards, right? You don't really need to have NVMEs, but they are highly recommended. First of all, they have higher endurance, right? If you run these on SATA, you will run down your SATA drives sooner or later. Then you'd have to replace them. When you replace them, you have downtime, or you need another, and all that kind of stuff, right? So the NVMEs will just run longer. They have way, way higher endurance. They have better performance data. So you will get a better performance score. If you want to use your SATA, you can do it. There's no requirement from our side. I'll just reiterating the, the ramifications here. Is the 1 gigabit per second the biggest bottleneck? That likely will be the biggest bottleneck in the future once we have some real load on the system, right? We will need great internet with great bandwidth, and yeah, and it's not right now, and maybe it's not in the South era, maybe it's not even in the main era, but it will become a bottleneck in the Central era. Yeah. And yeah, internet connections are getting faster everywhere, and I know there's places in the world where that's not the case, but you can host it, right? If you're in a country where fast internet is hard to get, and surprisingly, I tried in India and places like that, it is tough to get. So you better host it someplace else then, or you pay like 20x the cost that it costs in other places in the world. But that might also change. Last time I looked into India is like 2-3 years ago, so I might not be giving you the correct information here. But yeah, we need fast internet, right? Not now though, right? It might take, a few months or so until we're in mine or even central that we really need fast internet. But we also don't make that a hard requirement, right? It's just gonna drag on your performance. If there's a drag on your performance, your rewards will go down. If you have bad performance, people will not stake that much with you, right? So then you have another drag on your rewards, right? And then also Atlas or our storage system might not choose to store a lot of pages on your pNode because it has a history of, being slow. So it's all like it's all your decision. It's kind of running a pNode is like running your own business, right? And you live with the consequences with whatever you do. And whether it's a good investment or not, I'm not into that, right? It's kind of like your decision, and there's so many factors, right? You might have bought that drive at some point in time, or you might be able to use an internet connection from your friend's company or something like that, right? There's so many factors there. Okay, now why Metro? Now I know the difference between a pool and a farm. Thanks again. Yeah, it's kind of, you first need to get yourself familiarized with these things here, and I went through the same path here. Perfectly answered. Thanks, Bernie. Worrisome, good work. Much love. Worrisome, take massive action. Will there be more pNodes? Yeah, I talked about that. In new eras, there will be. And I'm running an SSD. All right. So, lots of questions, and over an hour again. Thank you, everyone, for all your engagement. After that marathon in the X Spaces this morning, now that marathon in this AMA right here with video on YouTube, again, live streamed into X as well. Remember to give us that like and subscribe. Remember to view this video. If you just joined in and then you had to leave, pull it up at some other place and watch it from beginning to end. Even if you're not there and it just runs through, it's going to help the algorithm. And the same on X. Do it on both platforms, X and YouTube. and give us all these comments and likes and subscribes and everything. So thank you, everyone. Dankeschön, and catch you guys later. Peace.